Kia ora te whānau a iho karaiti. Today's Gospel is Matthew 16 verses 21 through to 28 and it's for Sunday the 3rd of September. From that time on, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and undergo great suffering at the hands of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, God forbid it, Lord. This must never happen to you. But he turned and said to Peter, Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me, for you are setting your mind not on divine things, but on human things. Then Jesus told his disciples, If any want to become my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit them if they gain the whole world but forfeit their life? Or what will they give in return for their life? For the Son of Man is to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay everyone for what has been done. Truly I tell you, there are some standing here who will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. We are going to die, all of us, without exception. You may be holding out hope that Jesus will come back in your lifetime. That will save you from that possibility. And millions have during the past 2 millennia. It hasn't happened yet. But who knows? It may happen today, or tomorrow, next year, or in 100 years. We just don't know. So facing our own death might be helpful. The reality is that most of us imagine that it isn't going to happen to us, that we're the exception. Now, when I say it out loud, of course, it sounds ridiculous, but we live as though it were true. I remember a while ago reading back that a study had been done that concluded that most people thought that they were going to live 15 years longer than they actually did. That's a lot of death denial. And in one way or another, we're all caught up in it. So we fritter away our lives with a vague idea that something grand might happen, that the meaning of our lives will become into clear perspective, and everything will be just tickety-boo. And indeed it might. Yet we can't escape the reality of the missed out life, the life that failed to be what it might have been because we were afraid to risk ourselves, because we believe that we're entitled to be comfortable, to live to a good old age, hopefully forever. Even Jesus is confronted with this reality. In his humanity there is a tension, a struggle. When he talks about his own impending suffering and death, clearly there is a reluctance. This casts a shadow over his life. He knows it's there and he can't shake it off. My hunch is that it's the horror, the reluctance that bothers him more than the prospect of suffering and death itself. This is often the way. It's the anticipation that we find unbearable. And so he's challenged by Peter. No, says Peter, that's not what the future looks like. It's going to be glorious, and we're all going to share it with you. But Jesus' response, Get out of my way, Satan, seems a bit extreme, surely, especially to one he has just described as the rock on which the church would be built. This shows something of Jesus' ambivalence. There is a tension within him. Part of him would like to be able to choose an easier path, but he knows that the easier path leads nowhere, achieves nothing. Among the last words of missionary Jim Elliot in his diary before his death at the hands of the Huani people in Ecuador in early 1956, he wrote this: "He is no fool who gives what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose." Let's hear that again. He is no fool who gives what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose. This is a statement of faith, that death is not the end, and more importantly, that an invested life, even one that is cut short early, is of much greater than one that is simply long. Both Jesus and Elliot saw the possibility of impending death as an investment, more than a cost. This is a principle that applies to so many things. We so often think of what something will cost us, rather than seeing it potentially as an investment in something greater. I see this in the church all the time. We're always looking at the dollars, we're always looking at the energy to be expended, we're always looking at the bottom line of just the thing itself, rather than recognizing the possibilities that it might give birth to, rather than recognizing it as potentially an investment. For Jesus, his life is invested in the future of the world, and it echoes throughout eternity. It's so much more significant that one that might have lasted a little bit longer, yet to no purpose, which disappears in obscurity in the mists of history. Sometimes, I admit, it's hard to believe in the possibility of life after death. As I heard a colleague, when asked if he believed in the resurrection, he said, "On a good day, yes." Now this may sound shocking to many, yet there's a brutal honesty to it. Faith is not expressed in certainties, but more often in hope, and in the hope in which we are willing to invest our lives. Here's the thing. Jesus invites us to invest our lives in his way. There are no certainties of peace, of comfort, of prosperity, of success. It's likely to be costly. It may cost us everything. Yet he invites us to see it as an investment rather than simply a cost. Jesus was described by Dietrich Bonhoeffer as the man for others. Bonhoeffer himself invested his life as a man for others in the Nazi prison in which he was held and ultimately executed. Jesus invested his life in the future of humanity. Your future, my future, and the future of the universe. And he invites us to follow his path, to invest our lives likewise. Here's the thing. We're invited to give our lives away rather than have it ultimately taken from us. This is another clue. Something that is wholly and freely given rather than taken. Something that is done so in love leaves no room for fear. Surely that has to be a better path. Amen. God bless you.